For today's block from the Dear Jane quilt, we are going to be working on block G-1. It is also called Hattie's Hen House. The focus fabric that I've chosen is this orange fabric from the 30s reproduction collection. All right, let's take a look at how this block is set up and my plan for how I'm going to sew mine together. G1 is a relatively simple block. What we see in here is we have the foundation fabric underneath this clover is basically a quarter square triangles, and then the clover over top is in a reverse image. It's in the reverse fabric. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of each of the fabrics, the background and the foundation fabric, and cut two squares of the same size and then cut them in half. The fabric that I'm choosing for my foundation fabric is this orange fabric with the ducks. I'm going to cut a 6-inch square out of my focus fabric and also a 6-inch square out of my background fabric. For the clover shape, I want to trace one of these wedges onto freezer paper, and I'm going to use that as my template to cut out these 4 pieces individually. Here's my freezer paper. I cut out a piece, and on the non-waxy side, I will lay that over my pattern, and I can see that design right through there. And I will just trace that design. There, now I have that pattern traced. With my 6-inch square, now I'm going to cut it twice on the diagonal. So I have my ruler and cut once, and then I'm going to cut it a second time. I will do the same with my background muslin fabric. I now have my 4 triangles of my focus fabric, 4 triangles of my background fabric, and my template for my clover. Taking 2 of the triangles of each fabric, just lay this out so you will see. It creates the hourglass or the half square triangle block. And then with this template, I will also cut out the template for each of these. When I use a freezer paper template, there is a rough side and a waxy side, and you can kind of see the way that light glares off of the waxy side and not off the paper side. That waxy side, place it down onto the back side of your fabric. When you press it with the iron, it will adhere to your fabric without leaving any residue. Then when it's pressed down, I can trim a 1/4 inch all around. You can see here I have my freezer paper template pressed on, and you know it sticks really well, and it'll come off really well. On this paper side now, I'm going to take my iron and press that seam all along this curved edge, and that way it'll give me a nice curved edge that I can applique. I am not going to press this side because I'm going to match that up to the opposite triangle that it's going to go on, so that I can create the 1/4 unit for each piece that I'll sew together. I now have my edge all pressed down. I'm going to remove my template still good as new. I can use that for the next 3 units. And now I will take my cloverleaf unit and I'm going to pin this down on top. Got the edges lined up. I'm going to pin this piece down. Now I can applique this seam. Once this clover section is appliqued on, I can now trim away the excess behind here, some of that background. I can trim that, leaving 1/4 inch so that there's not this extra bulk. Now my 4 units are done and I'm going to stitch them together. Right here where these joints are is the important section to match so that we get a nice good clover all the way through. All 4 pieces have been stitched together and pressed, and now we can take our ruler and we'll line up our center lines. Here we have our center point right in the middle, and our diagonal lines are following the lines of the stitches, and we have a good amount around to be able to trim off. We're going to trim this block, and there is our finished block of G-1, also called Hattie's Hen House. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below in the comment section or send me an email at soitseemscreations@outlook.com.